Hello and welcome to the Trent Valley Railway. In this video we'll be taking a look at the completion of the inclines. This video is part of a series of videos which documents the build of the layout. Previous videos on the inclines have looked at the testing and then the building of the framework. This video will look at the Cork Underlay and the track laying in order to get those trains running from the fiddle yard down on the lower level to the scenery level above. I've now put both of those cork sheets down on the incline, the thinner one on the left, which is used on the lower level of the layout, and obviously the thicker one on the right. You'll see in the very middle then is the join. That gives a really nice smooth flush finish between the two Cork Underlay sheets. And when I come round to shortly putting the track on it, you'll see there that that gives a very nice transition between those two sections there. What I've also done in doing that section at the very bottom of the incline is I've also then merged it into the lower level on the far left there, where there's also a join between the incline and the lower level of the layout. So the next part here is to carry on up the incline and then wait for all of the Cork Underlay to dry, put some stuff down on top of it to weigh it down and get it all flat, and then I can start to put the track down. So I've made it all the way towards the network rail shunter on the right hand side of the picture with the Cork Underlay on this incline, and I'm now weighing it down with a few books and weights and a few of the big wooden blocks that I've got left over from when I propped up the incline. So it goes all the way then down to the bottom of the incline, and we'll wait for that Cork Underlay to dry and then start getting the track down. Now started to bring the track around this corner, and then it joins the incline. And I've got one section of concrete track in there. At the moment, the radius is around about a third radius curve around the corner, and then I've got the track setter there for a straight to go all the way up the incline. And I'm now going to do the track behind this curve and get the spacing right and put those wires through the baseboard. I've now got both of the tracks down on the first incline part of the way along. So if we take a look around this corner here, joins the incline and then comes up to there. So that's as far as I've got on this first incline at the moment. I've pinned all the track down, put the wires through the baseboards ready to power up those sections. But I'm now going to move on to the incline behind, which you'll see at the back, and put down the Cork Underlay sheets on those. And whilst that's waiting to dry, I'll then put the track down on the last sections of the first incline towards the garage door. It's been a few days since I've last videoed the progress, and we were previously on this section of the incline, and I've now got the track in around the corner and also wired it up. Those wires are ready to go through the baseboard and underneath to be connected to the main power. It then comes across the first corner piece, which I've got all of that pinned down and to a minimum third radius curve, and then it comes across then a straight section at the very back. And I've been getting on with the progress on this incline, as you'll see, and I've now also come round this corner here as well with the two tracks and started up the straight on the incline over the top of the fiddle yard. The other incline then sort of gets in the way there, and that's about as far as I have reached, is just to the end of there. And I'll now take you down the other end as well to show you the progress I've made on laying the cork underlay for the rest of the incline on this side of the layout. So I've just taken you around the corner down the bottom there, and then if we look back down the incline, I've got one piece which is ready to go into that section, and then I've laid the cork now up here, another join there, and then up to the next corner piece here, which is by the garage door end of the layout, and up to the lift out section there. So all of this cork is now glued down, and the next part here is to get the track down on this section up to that lift out. I've added in an extra 2 lengths here to the incline at the very back and above the fiddle yard here, and I've stopped just short of then going around the corner towards the lift out section. Reason for that is I want to line up the tracks across the lift out section and do all that as one piece. But what I've also done in this section here is I've also got the wiring ready, and I've put in a small terminal block on the very back, and I've got 2 bus wires that you'll just see at the very back there that are connecting up these tracks along this incline. So next I then cut down the baseboard plank that was across this section down into 3 pieces, 2 for either side of the lift out, and then the final piece would be for the middle. I added in the supporting framework for the lift out section itself in the middle, as I've done for the other inclines, and then made sure that I had a nice flush level finish across the joins for the lift out section. You'll then see here in the picture that I've got all 4 of those lift out sections now complete. There's 3 which are for inclines, and then there's the one at the very bottom which is the lower level for fiddle yard access across both sides. That then completes all of the rebuild for each of the lift out sections that I need in terms of the framework and the baseboards. I've obviously done the track work and the cork underlay and wiring up the very bottom lift out section, but I still now need to then move on and do that for the rest of the inclines. This is where I'd got up to in terms of the track work in the last layout update. I'd got round the incline as far as then here, and what I've done is taken the baseboards off the very top of the scenery level here so that you can see down into the incline that sits above the fiddle yard. So I've continued the track work around the first sort of corner piece by the garage door. I said I'd sort of leave that to do all as one piece, and then also to connect it in with the lift out section and get the spacing and the track right in that area so that I don't get any trains conflicting with each other as they're sort of going around the corner. So I've spaced all that out correctly, and then it comes around out of the framework there underneath the scenery level, and then across this lift out section here. So this lift out section has got the track down, it's all wired up. The right hand side is wired up correctly. All the track is then lined up between the joins, and that then lifts out from there when I need to enter and exit the garage. This side I've got some temporary wiring in there for the moment, because I've also then got to wire up all the droppers that then come down off this side as it comes around the first corner here and then starts to proceed up the incline on this side of the garage by this garage wall here. And if we take a look, the view up there, that then shows you the work that I've done all the way up this side as well with the track work. Pretty simple, straight track all the way up there towards then the class 350, which we'll go and have a look at. So as it comes here past the breeze block in the middle, and then it continues all the way up here to where I mentioned at the very start of the video is where I've got to in terms of track work on the incline, with the 350 here and then another corner piece before it sort of finishes, just before it gets to where the scenery level will go above the fiddle yard. So a bit like where I got to on the incline for the last layout update, I'm going to leave these bits until I know where the track needs to go for the scenery section. So as we come back down the incline, you'll also notice that I've put in the barriers, the insulation piping on the outside, like I had done for when I had the testing stage of the incline build. And then as we come down towards the garage door, that'll stop any trains falling off the edge and going over onto either the baseboard below or even onto the floor, and that'll stop any trains getting damaged. So following getting that incline now completed, apart from the last little bit to get up to the scenery level, the next piece of work here then is to carry on the other incline. So this is as far as I got on the other incline, which comes off the lower level, and where that wiring is sat at the moment, got to get some Cork Underlay down on there. And as we've sort of discussed earlier in the video, those lift out sections are now ready to have the Cork Underlay and the track work put down, so I can continue that around, and then that comes over the top of the fiddle yard, does a lap of the layout before coming back to this next lift out section here and joining up with the scenery level. So I've waited a couple of days for the Cork Underlay to set, and that's now glued down to the baseboards on the incline. I've then now started with the track work. So I've done this corner here, so we're right back down where I started at the start of the update for the incline, as it comes out around the corner there and then crosses the lift out section. I've also then got the protection on the outside there in the foam insulation piping, just in case any derailments happen, and it comes around then over the top of the fiddle yard, and I've got the two tracks coming around that corner and then up the incline all the way down towards the other end. So if we take a walk to where I've got up to so far, it carries on all the way to this corner of the garage, which is where I've got up to with the track laying. One of the key things around track laying on the corners is to get enough separation between the lines so that I can have two pendolinos passing each other, and I found those to be a good gauge measuring tool, especially around the corners with the overhang. So after that, I've then got to carry on around and up to the scenery level. I've carried on with the track work on the second incline and made more progress towards the scenery level. So I've got the two tracks coming out from underneath the scenery section there. They come along onto another corner, and I've got the gauge clearance between the two running lines there for the pendolinos that I mentioned previously, and also here there's the derailment protection just sort of temporary on the edge to see what it looked like. I need to fix those down in a short while. It then carries on up the incline and towards the other end of the garage, where you'll see at the very top right hand corner I've got the two tracks ready to go round onto the lift out section. For each of these corner pieces, I've done the inner track on the corner first, and I've used a old Hornby R609 third radius double curve to effectively measure out the curvature and the radius around, so that it provides a minimum third radius curve on the inside, and then I've then spaced out with the pendolino carriages, gauging enough room between the tracks for the other line that will go around the curve. It will then join up with the lift out section here, where I've got the 2 pieces of track to cut down, wire up and sort out the connections to either side before it can then go across and join up onto the scenery section. So the last little bit I had to complete for the track work on the incline was around this final corner here by the garage door. I've now got the track pinned down. Wiring up still needs to take place, but I've also then got the derailment protection around the corner and onto the lift out section across the middle, where I've put 2 pieces of track in there and made sure that the joins then are all lined up, and it follows onto what is for the time being a temporary line on the scenery section. So this comes onto the scenery section here, and I've just got the 2 tracks then going down to the other end of the layout, where they then join up down here with the other incline that I did quite a while back now. But that now means that I have completed both of the inclines and achieved the target that I'd set myself, which was to get this completed by the end of the year. So I'm really happy that I've got to this stage now, and this now means it's time to start being able to run some trains